All right, welcome back to the channel. Today we're at the other Nocatee paddle launch in Ponte Vedra, Florida, and I am excited. Whenever I come to a new location, I always scope out the area first just to kind of see what I'm getting myself into. Just a few minutes ago, I already saw manatees in the water. So this could be the first time I get these guys on video. So excited, they're such amazing creatures. So this kayaking launch is open from dawn until dusk. There's this little rocky trail to get here, but it is definitely worth it. I would call this a hidden gem. So we're gonna get in the water and see what happens. I also wanted to give a quick shout out to one of my viewers, Jesse Bliss, who recommended this location. Thank you, Jesse. This is amazing so far. I'm not even in the water yet, so just keep those comments coming. If there's other areas you want me to check out and do a video on, let me know in the comments. And man, this is so great. Thank you, Jesse. Trail just keeps going. I had no idea this place was even back here. It's crazy. I mean, eventually there has to be some water, right? Okay, we're back on pavement. That's a good sign. And I think I see something up ahead. Okay, here we go. This is more like it. Oh look, water. Okay, so only a few minutes into the kayaking trip and I already have one, maybe two kayaking tips for you guys. So the first thing I want to point out are the channel markers here. So you're going to see a green channel marker and an orange one. Green one is a square, orange one is a triangle, and all the boats going by are supposed to go between those two channels. So keep an eye out for boats. If you're going to cross over this area like I did to get to this island, just look both ways, just like you're on the street. A lot of times these boats might not even see you, so just be extra careful out there. So what's really cool coming out here were all the little islands that are right across from the boat ramp. So I'm on a little one right now, and there's a larger one right over here, and there's more of them going down this way. Right behind me seems to be this super shallow area, which I might see some shrimp, fish, and birds in, so I might head back there. But even getting up to this spot, I had to get out and walk. It was really shallow, really quickly. And if you guys see all these little black dots on the ground, these are all actually little snails. So this whole island here is just covered with these tiny snails, and they're all in the water, so just be careful where you step. I mean, they don't hurt your feet or anything, but you know, they're still living creatures, so just be a little conscious of them. Okay, so I had to stop and talk about these sticks coming out of the water. As we passed them, I just kept looking at them and I was thinking, wait a second, we're in the middle of a preserve. That can't be part of an old dock or anything that got destroyed from a hurricane. So I asked a fisherman across the way here, and he says he thinks it's part of an oyster restoration project, which makes a lot of sense. So when Jesse Bliss had recommended this spot, like many of my subscribers, understands how much I do not like oysters, and she pointed out that this area is pretty free of oysters, and so far she has been right. But it looks like the city, or else it could be state government, wants to restore the area, which makes a lot of sense, and here's why. Oysters are a critical part of the ecosystem here in St. Augustine. Not only do they filter the water and make it cleaner, they also provide a source of food for birds, crabs, and other animals. So the idea behind projects like this are to give the oysters an area to take root. So what you see here are actually barnacles. So these little guys are going to build up first, and then eventually we'll probably see an oyster bed here in the next 5 to 10 years. What's also interesting is how they have these sticks placed here pretty far from the water. And as you can see, the barnacles are all the way to the top of all of these sticks. So that means that the water's coming in and I'm gonna be waist deep in a couple of hours. I also wanted to point out all these beautiful grasses. So between the water on my left and the trees on my right, you have all these wetlands, and it is just a beautiful and amazing ecosystem that we have here. And if we get in close, you can see how the water and the tides have an effect on this. You get mud and sediment and, you know, of course, dead fish coming here. All that stuff gets into all this area. So that gives a lot of food for the crabs, which we've seen just tons of them today, and other animals that will actually swim in this area come high tide. Alright, so kayaking tip number 2 is learning how to read the water. I did end up heading back to that more shallow area, and when the sun was going through the water, what I noticed were big streaks of tan coming out, and those are sandbars. So I got stuck, I bottomed out, and I had to get out of there, and I came back across to the west side of the water, where it's much deeper, and so far so good. All right, and kayaking tip number 3 is when you're paddling. I always like to put the paddle in and push down and back, and that kind of motion transfers most of your energy behind you and propels you forward. If you are way too much out to the side, if your paddle's too shallow, you're not gonna go anywhere, you're gonna wear yourself out. You also wanna make sure that your paddle is curved and spooned. This shape, again, transfers that energy behind you, so you go forward. Don't come out here with a square paddle, rectangle, anything for a canoe, make sure it's for a kayak. Okay, so kayaking tip number 5 while you're out there is going to be paddle check. That's simply when you're in the boat, if you're thinking about getting out, put your paddle in first. If it stops like that, it's sandy, it'll support you, you can get out. If it goes in all the way up to here, there's mud, try somewhere else. Okay, so by now a lot of you might be wondering, why kayak videos? It's not the most exhilarating fun. It is fun. Let me stop you right there. But yeah, why do I do kayaking videos? And there are a ton of reasons besides it being my favorite hobby. I have personally found that it is the best way to reconnect with nature. And videos like this help let people know and remember that we're part of a larger ecosystem. When you're out there on the water, you're back with nature and you're not thinking about all the nonsense going on in the world today. You realize there's this larger planet than just our little human view of things sees sometimes. And I encourage anyone who thinks about it to get into kayaking. It is a really inexpensive hobby to get started. A couple $100 gets you in the water. And if you're fortunate like us to live in an area where there's tons of places to go, you will never be disappointed. So I had an incredible time today at the Nocatee Landing paddle launch in Ponte Vedra, Florida. This is a beautiful place. From just all the boats going by, people having a great time, all the wildlife, the changing water conditions make it a little bit challenging, which is always fun. And we just saw some amazing things today, including a giant army of crabs. I'm convinced that if they get organized, they could take over. So by now you might be tired of me asking for the likes and subscribes. I'm a new YouTuber like a lot of us out there, and it can be really hard to get started. I'm in this for the fun of it. This is the video side of this hobby has gotten me out more. It has given me an outlet to be creative, and I just love it. And I really hope that if you're watching this video, you love it too, and you get as much out of it as I do. If you have any suggestions for places I should check out, please leave them in the comments. And if you're ever in the area and want me to take you out, I know all the spots, so let me know. And until next time, keep having adventures.